Next, I am happy to introduce Derek Van Berkel. He'll be talking to us about why trees are so important for urban agriculture and frontline communities. He's with the School for Environment and Sustainability, and his favorite food is his mom's Berkel, a traditional Dutch meal. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about a project that I've been working on for the past 5 years in the frontline community of the 7th Ward in New Orleans. The project started out as an urban greening project, planting trees and constructing green stormwater infrastructure. But I soon realized that for Angela, my local partner and resident of the 7th Ward, this project was about more than just trees. She had visions of urban agriculture, community, and livability in her neighborhood. When I get the opportunity, the chance to visit our project area, Angela will pick me up from the airport. And after updating me about what's going on in the neighborhood and what we were planning to do that day, she will invariably ask me if I've eaten. She often has a specific restaurant in mind where she wants to take me. And conversations often revolve around food and later for what's for dinner. I have come to realize that this is fundamental to many New Orleanians and a love of food and connection to community. So one of Angela's wishes is to bring back gardens to her neighborhood as a way to activate the community. She often talks about bringing back the numerous fruit trees in her neighborhood she remembers from her youth, how harvests were shared amongst the community members, her friends, her family. She remembers what she calls misbelieves or loquats in NOLA, pecans, figs, citrus. And she basically talks lovingly about gardening. But there are few fruit trees in the neighborhood and few backyard gardens. So why is this? As a frontline community, the 7th Ward often takes the brunt of increasingly frequent and intense hurricanes. This not only stresses trees due to high winds and breakage and saltwater intrusion, which is hard on trees, but it stresses the community. Short-term, folks might need to leave to get out of town to higher ground. And then long-term, they might have to repair their houses or take calls from insurance companies. And there's obviously emotional impact with a hurricane. This means that folks have little time for gardening or that it's simply not a priority. So here is actually the 7th Ward. And I'm just going to show you the impact of the hurricane and specifically a before and after of Hurricane Katrina. And so what we can see is the community was totally underwater. Okay. And this is today. So another issue preventing gardening, and I think probably the most paramount one, is the urban heat island. So institutional racism in urban planning led to the removal of trees, as you can see here. And this was basically for road improvements. And there was a lot of disinvestment because the community is a red line community. And this resulted, I think, now and in the past, in a lack of trees, and 7th Ward residents basically experiencing extreme heat exposure. For example, in our neighborhood temperature monitoring program, we're basically finding that there are more extreme heats within the local climate compared to kind of official NOLA temperature monitoring. So from our research, when we ask, how long are you likely to stay outside when the weather is hot, we have learned that on the most extreme heat days, folks are more inclined to stay inside as much as possible. And we know that this is related to the health issues of this kind of vulnerable population. And there's an aging population in the 7th Ward. So extreme heat can prevent urban agriculture because it's basically non-pleasant to be outside. But also from our research, when we ask how they would most want to, the residents, how they most want to improve their community, most community members, when given different options, would prefer community gardens. So we gave them options of rain gardens and community art, but we resoundingly found that this is their top option. So this is kind of our in. This is our in for more, to catalyze more green projects, this love of perhaps gardening. So what does this mean? I think what we're basically trying to attempt is to improve the climate, to make it pleasant in the neighborhood, to allow for different activities, including gardening. And we've basically taken steps by planting over 300 trees, dispersing rain barrels, and constructing green infrastructure to create a canopy, and then to lessen some of the more extreme flooding events. My apologies. So this has been done with wide community involvement and consultation and commitment to long-term engagement. So we've been working there for 5 years, and we're planning to work there for as long as we can to try to track and understand how the community changes as trees grow. Our hope is that planting trees can be adopted by other neighborhoods in NOLA, and that urban gardening and the food that it produces can benefit community and then also communities. So thank you.